Good evening and welcome to another episode of Unstoppable Overcomers. Um, I just want to bring on an amazing guest. Her name is Michelle Schaffer, and she is an amazing woman of Christ. And I can't, instead of me doing a boring introduction and just reading what she put on her bio, I'm just going to say, hey, ladies and gentlemen, here's Michelle. Michelle, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much for having me. And I think I did it right. So I think we're streaming inside of another group as well.
Oh,
Thank you for
perfect.
having me. I've been an entrepreneur basically my whole adult life. I'm a mother to three. I became a mother as a teenager. I had my first daughter when I was 16, my son when I was 19. And now I have my third is 19, which is crazy. They're all gone. I'm a brand new empty nester. Me
Oh,
and my husband. And I'm the founder of Girl Power Alliance and Radiant Leadership Academy, which are two things that I'm very, very passionate about. I'm an author and a podcaster, and I literally am obsessed with helping women grow.
I love that. And first of all, what is it like to be an empty nester?
Um, it's really terrible. Even just today, I mean, so my oldest daughter, who's 30 and has my first grandbaby, I live in Southern California. She lives in Florida, so she's really far away. My son, who's 29, lives here about 30 minutes from me. And the baby in August of this year, the end of July, moved to Seattle. So they're all spread out. So it's been a couple of months. And the oldest two have been gone for a while. We just had the baby. And just today, I was driving home from an errand and I just told my husband I was moved to tears, just an empty feeling inside of me knowing I'm going home to no children. So it kind of feels like you're being broken up with over and over. It's kind of how it feels. And I know some people are so happy, like they're so happy their kids are out and they finally get to have this time with their spouse, which is wonderful. Me and my husband are enjoying that. But I will
Right.
tell you, as a mom, I just don't know that you're ever ready. I want them all. I want all of them here. I want my grandbaby here. I want everybody here.
And then that was the first question I had to ask you today of all days, right? Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. It's just kind of funny because I don't know that. I mean, I'm sure maybe with more time it'll like go away. But
Mhm.
I became a mom. So yeah, I was 16 when my daughter was. My whole life, I've had children in my home. So to have no children is a very out of body, different feeling to have. We have this big house. There's just the two of us. So I don't know. I want to fill it with kids and mess and loud noises.
Well, maybe you could open up a daycare.
No, my kids,
Your
their mess.
kids. There we go. There we go. All right. Because I believe everybody has an overcoming story. And that's why we're here, because the show's Unstoppable Overcomers. And just from what I have seen of you, Michelle, you are like a force to be reckoned with for sure. So tell us a little bit about your overcoming story.
Well, which one should we pick? Um,
Everyone you feel comfortable talking about.
I'm an open book. I share pretty much everything. But since I've already been talking about it, I think we can start with the fact that I was such a young mom. When I kind of was on a trajectory like most kids. You think you know the path. You're in high school and you're like, I'm going on this path. I had a trajectory. And then of course I found out that I was pregnant and everything got really, really dramatically shifted. And I maybe just my own pride, rebellion, who knows. I wanted to not be your typical, you hear stories of people that are adults and they say, well, I had a teen mom, or well, my mom was a single mom. And really it was part of their overcoming story, right? That
Right.
that their mother struggled. And so
Right.
it really became my goal, my mission, that my children were never going to have that story.
Right.
So I was determined that they weren't going to suffer because of the fact that I was such a young mom. And so that's probably, you know, it was something that I was very ashamed of for many years. I never talked about it. People would see me with my kids, especially when I was single. So I looked really young, and I have these two tiny kids with me, and
Mhm.
I would watch people do the mental math. they'd be like, "Oh, how old are your kids?" And you knew that they were only asking you because they're trying to figure out, like, are these your kids? Are you babysitting? And you'd watch them do the mental math. And I never talked about it because I was very ashamed. I knew that people were probably judging me, whether they were or they weren't. That is what I believed, that they were
Right.
judging me.
Right.
And it wasn't until probably I was like 38 or 39 that I ever even talked about it. And my husband and I owned a company and we were having a leadership event. And I told him in the room that day, I think I'm going to share my story. He's like, yeah, go ahead. I go, no, like, I'm going to share this, like, my story. And from that day forward, I shared it from a place of, that's a part of me, but it's not my identity. And it's not something I felt like I had to prove anymore, like
Right.
prove that I wasn't this thing that I didn't want to become.
Right. I absolutely love that. And I commend you, first of all, for being that mom and for being, making sure that you had a trajectory of how you wanted your children to be raised up, and then you did that. And yes, people unfortunately have a lot of judgment and, doing the math and things like that. And, you know, I have to say, I've had 2 family members that gave birth at 14 years of age,
Wow.
or became no, they became pregnant at 14, gave birth, when they were
15.
15, and, you know, they turned out to be the best moms ever,
Mm,
and I was just like, I was shocked. I'm like, "Well, what are you gonna do?" It's done, and you just move on, and they took care of their children just like you did, and th I commend single moms, I really do. I honestly don't think I could do it myself, and that's maybe part of why I never had children, and I met my husband late in life, and I just didn't want to do that because I didn't think I could handle it. I mean, I've been through a lot, so being a single mom, I'm like, no, that's not for me. But I commend you single moms that do that, and that obviously, I mean, here you are, and you don't want to be away from your children, so that says a lot about you as well. So,
being a single parent, whether you're a mom or a dad, it sucks. It's so hard. It really is. You wonder why God says in the Bible that He hates divorce and stuff. It's not because He hates you. It's because it's just hard. It's really
yeah,
hard. And listen, I did my best with certain things with my kids, but I promise you I screwed them up in other ways. Like we do our best, as parents, we do our best, but it's kind of like it's a bit of a dice roll in general because they have their own walk with the Lord, they have their own journey, their own personalities, their own things that their mistakes that they're gonna make. So
yeah.
I mean, there were some things I know that I did right, but certainly, if they were all three on here, they would be more than willing to tell all of the things that I did wrong also.
Maybe that's a show we could have another day.
For real. That's an actual reality show is what that would be.
But no, I love that. And the fact though, okay, so I've heard from other single moms that had moms or had children when they were young. It's kind of like you grew up together. So
Totally.
it's kind of like you had, and this doesn't mean not to be offensive, but it's like you had your own Barbie doll, and it's like a real life thing though, right?
Yeah,
And
you definitely grow up together. I mean, my daughter my grandbaby's 1 year old. So to see my daughter had her daughter at 29, was she 30 or 29? I think she was 29 when she was born. By that time, I was like my kids were in their teens
right.
by the time they were that age.
Right.
And growing, there are pluses and minuses. Like, I'm not telling people to go get pregnant as teenagers, but I will tell you, like, I was so young that, first of all, I had a ton of energy. That was great. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
just was abounding with energy.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been exposed to the world yet for many years. So there were things that I was totally afraid of when my third child was born, when I was 29
Right.
versus 16 and 19 with my first two. There
Right.
were things that I was afraid of that I didn't even know to be afraid of with the first two. So I always tell people, like, ignorance was bliss for me. It was joyful and joyous because I didn't even know what things to be afraid of yet. And we
Exactly.
definitely grew up together.
Well, and I can just see you being that, like, grandmother that is going to just go and be at the park all the time and have that energy to be with their grandchildren, and instead of like my mom's 60, no, 65, which is young, but I mean,
It
she's
is.
had so many health problems that you know, she's not that grandmother.
Well, I'm
But,
excited. I'm excited. My mom became, let's see, she was younger than me when Brianna, my oldest daughter, was born. So she was a really young grandma. She's really close to all the kids. And I mean, listen, it is what it is. I'm certainly not, it wasn't, I'm not advocating it or telling, my daughter, obviously she had her daughter at 29, my other's 19. They've already beat me. They've already beat me. My son's 29. But it is what it is, and you do what you have to do. And you said something like, I couldn't handle it. You do handle it. I mean,
Mhm.
nobody thinks they can, but then when you're in it, you just
Yeah,
do. And by
yeah,
the grace of God, he gets you through each day, each struggle, each moment.
right.
And you just handle it.
Exactly. I'm just going to go to the comments for one quick minute here. We have our friend Sean, or Tim Sean, sorry. He's from Pennsylvania. Welcome to the show, Tim. Our friend Garen, he's from out BC. If I thought mine was colder, I think Garen's probably colder out there where he's at.
Yikes.
Uh, Welcome Inger. Inger's from Toronto, Ontario. So that's a good another Ontarioan in the house. Lagidia, she's from Costa Rica.
Ooh, it's warm there, I bet.
Uh, yes, Dr. Laura. And I think Dr. Laura is from Chicago.
Ooh,
Melanie, Massachusetts. Welcome, ladies.
cold, cold.
Laura already thinks you're phenomenal, and you are.
Oh,
So that's a.
yeah.
All right,
Yes.
you got to do what you got to do. I absolutely agree. And that's so funny that you said that because growing up, my parents had a lot of health issues. So I was used to that. So
Right.
when the pandemic hit, and I'm the only parent out of the four of us that has a job that could potentially work from home. So I'm Zoom schooling. And I'm telling you, by the first month and a half, I'm ready to just cave in. And calling my dad, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how did you do this? Because my dad was very strict, very like honest all the time, where my husband is not. And my husband's the baby and the only boy out of four. So there's a difference. I'm the oldest out of two. So there's
Oh,
a
you're
huge
like
difference.
opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yes. So I'm like, and my dad said to me, well, you can't raise a child how like I raised you guys now. I'm like, that's the only way I know, right? But I'm used to medical problems. Like I can handle that like aces. A child with Zoom school, I can't handle. So it's all what you can handle. I mean, I did it, but that's not to say that I was the most amazing stepmom through Zoom school. That's for sure.
Well, Zoom school is just challenging to begin with. I mean, it's just trying to keep your kids' attention span, and it's a lot of things. It's been a challenging couple of years for everybody.
Mm-hmm. And Stephanie's like my sister. Welcome, Stephanie. So that is absolutely true. And so tell us, I'm just reading a little bit here. I Okay, so what first sparked me was the your Girl Power Alliance. Like that is what I saw your ad on Facebook that you had there, and I was just like, what is this? Because it was, well, I'll let you tell it, but it was what I saw was absolutely amazing. So tell us a little bit about the Girl Alliance.
Sure. Well, like I said, I've been an entrepreneur basically my whole adult career. The first half of my career, I was a stylist and a makeup artist. I was an independent contractor. So that's you work for yourself, but really you work for your clients. Then I got into the network marketing profession. Me and my husband, we did that for a decade and a half, very successfully. I started a podcast in 2017, and the reason that I did that was, I had always been taught that in business, if you really want to be successful, then you never talk about politics and you never talk about religion. Like if you do that, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. You're going to lose half your audience. Blah blah blah. So
Yeah.
you're listening to and learning from people, and you believe what they have to say. And so I did that. I never really talked about it. People that knew me knew about my faith. They knew about me, but I just felt this nudge that got louder and louder, and it really ended up feeling like a push. So I started the podcast in 2017, sold out entrepreneur, and I did that literally in a like just direct obedience to what I felt God was calling me to. And I felt him ask me this question: if you could talk about anything that you wanted to talk about, and you weren't worried about like pissing anybody off or offending anybody, what would it sound like? And so that was the birth of that podcast. And in that podcast, I really started just I talked, the podcasting world is still the wild, wild west. You can talk about, do whatever you want. There's no rules. You just get to be authentically yourself.
Yeah.
And so when I started the podcast, I really started to open up that part of me, really being authentic and honest about how God was working in my life, how he was working in my business, how, my faith impacted leadership, impacted my health, all of the things. Once I opened that door, I was changed and I could never shut the door again. So
Mhm.
here I was thinking that I was just going to kind of like compartmentalize this part of my life into the podcast. And it really just kind of changed everything for me. And I could never not talk about my faith anymore in all settings. So that was in 2017. At the end of 2019, kind of in the fall, I felt it again. I felt that push again. And I knew that God was calling me to something else. And I was like, oh, what do you, I don't know what it is, but what is it that you're calling me to? So I actually took a hiatus from the podcast and just prayed and journaled for a couple of months, really wanted to really hear the Lord. And it wasn't until the end. Now, mind you, this is pre like COVID. This is before all the world twisted.
Yep.
Um, I felt the Lord tell me two things very, very clearly. Number one, that we were about to have this at the end of 2019, December 2019. We were about the church. There was going to be a massive shift in the church. That was number one. And number two was that we were on the precipice of the largest revival that the world had ever seen, and that women were going to be the catalyst for the revival, and it was going to be women in the marketplace. Those two things I felt extremely um I felt very clear. Those two things felt very clear to me from the Lord. So I was like, okay, I don't know if there's anybody else out there. I don't know if there's any other women that are out there that are like me, total Jesus freak, who love the Lord, but you're called to the marketplace. Like you want to build wealth. You like building teams. You like, that's what you do. You build.
Mhm.
And so I kind of stepped out. I began building this platform that was going to have resources. I wanted to create a community where women, if there was anybody else out there that was like me, that was totally in love and sold out to Jesus, but also like really was an entrepreneur at heart. And so we started with the podcast that started first, like dipping my toe in. And while we were doing the podcast, and we built the platform that had, digital assets and courses and community and all of that. So that's really what Girl Power Alliance is. It's a community for women that you don't have to be an entrepreneur, even if you're not an entrepreneur. It's a community for women that are kind of these ambitious women,
Mhm.
that are called into building things and
Yeah.
also are totally in love with Jesus and want to figure out a way to effectively do both at the same time, and or just be around other women that are doing it so that you can learn from them, and or just enjoy the fact that we get to be exactly who God created us to be without any of the made up rules of the world, and without the what the enemy would tell you that you can't do.
Michelle, there's a reason why I was just like drawn to that that I don't even exactly remember. I just remembered seeing something about the Girl Power Alliance, and I'm thinking, what is this? And as you're speaking and sharing your story, how your journey started, it was exactly why this podcast today
Wow.
is here, because I knew my faith is strong. And it's funny because our roving reporter, she says, she has several businesses. She's been in business in real estate and things like that. But this is the first time she's ever really been able to talk about her faith in her business without everybody getting freaked out. And I'm like, well, if you can't talk about Jesus on my show, then there's a problem, because I since I've been in relationship with him, my life has completely changed, and that's why I'm here. I'm here because I pray before every show, and I'm like, God, whatever happens, happens, and this is for you. This is
Yes.
for your glory, and things like that. And people
Beautiful.
could come on and they could, my goal is to reach one per episode,
Beautiful.
reach reach one. But the premise of this was, I believe we all go through things for a reason, and that reason is so that we could share and help other people.
Yes.
And that is why this okay, I call it a live show. I don't call it a podcast, but because I see this being a TV show, and it's going to be the number one TV show and across the world. So that's what we're out to create. Kimberly and I were out to create the number one show. Well, speaking about our faith. So that's awesome.
Beautiful.
And that's why I think I was connected to you, because as you're telling me, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know. And if you are not connected to Michelle, please do so. In the show notes, I have put pretty much everywhere you can find her on the show notes, but she has an amazing group to be a part of as well. And Michelle, you know, there's a lot of groups that aren't, you're not allowed to talk about your stuff. You just join, and then you just with Michelle's group though, you're allowed to talk about what you're doing.
Oh yeah,
And
I encourage women
yeah,
because I'm a part of a ton of groups and I literally get like my post I'll be like, where'd my post go? They'll delete it. I hate all the rules. You can only post this on this day. You can only talk about this. It's like we're all grown women. Why are we connecting if we can't actually connect? And
yeah,
so I don't, there's no rules in our group. Maybe that means at some, I mean, I'm not saying that like, you know, when it's in the tens of thousands, I'm talking about the private group on Facebook, when it's in the tens of thousands, if it's just like going nuts in there, just for order, you might have to implement some, but I just like, we're all adults. We're all,
yeah,
let's be adults. If you want to post about your business, post about your business.
yeah. But I love that your foundation, you started the foundation with God first. And I
Yeah.
absolutely love that. And it's one of those things that you definitely want to be a part of, because it's not going to crumble, because if you have God at the foundation, that's not going to crumble. It's only going
Mhm.
to go from there. So that is absolutely amazing. It says here that you are an author as well. Tell us a little bit about your books that you have as well.
Yeah, I have two now that are already published, and I'm hoping to publish two more this year. So the first book is called Redefined, and that was everything in my life is a God story. I mean, truly, everything is a God story. I was really depressed, and I was feeling very sorry for myself. And I used to be just an avid journaler, and so I thought, I just need to get this out of me. All these I was feeling like crud. I just need to get it out of me. So I sat down one day on my laptop on the couch and I was just like, blah, like pouring it out of me. 13 days later, I had a 13 chapter book. It was not my intention to sit down and write a book. It was my intent. But what God did was, as I was like pouring out my heart in the midst of me really just kind of, I don't know, what started off kind of feeling sorry for myself. God literally used what I was writing to reshape me and to redefine the things that I was so feeling so victimized by into these things that he showed me are the reason that I've become who I am. They are my superpowers. So that's the first book. It's called Redefine, turning the art of turning adversities into advantages. And then the second book is called The Residual Life, and I wrote that book is Building Your Network Marketing Empire. My husband and I have been very successful in that profession, so I wanted to pour out everything that I knew, which was not the typical book. You know what I mean? You read, if you know anything about network marketing, you read these books, they're all kind of the same, like here's the steps. And so it wasn't that. And I wrote that one in 3 weeks.
Wow.
So those are available right now, both of them. And I am currently, if I could ever just like get a little bit of time, I could probably finish it really quickly. The third book will be Radiant Leadership, and it is a biblical leadership book, which is it's the book, not to accompany this, but to be like a standalone book. Really, all the things that God has shown me and what we teach in the Radiant Leadership Academy. And then I have another book, a fourth book that I'm going to write after our big event in April. So I
Very
love
good.
writing. I think it's a great. I mean, I love words. I'm kind of a word nerd. I love the art of words. If you read older books, their language was so beautiful compared to the way our language is now. They just use language. Like if you ever read any of the founding documents of the United States, They are
Mhm.
so incredibly beautifully written, just the way that they use language and vocabulary. And I'm a little bit obsessed with it. Same with the Bible. I love to read multiple versions of the same verse because
Mhm.
language is something that we've gotten very lazy, I think, with in general. But
Mhm.
and communication, because we just text and stuff, like sending emojis and everything. And I do it too, don't get me wrong. But language is such a beautiful thing to use to communicate, whether it's
Yes.
with the spoken word, singing, or writing something down.
Yes, I cannot stand it when my brother texts me just the letter K or okay. It's like, seriously? You finished your education, you're highly smart. You can add the O to the K.
We all
That
do
was
it. We all do it.
We all do it. I do it too. So I can't really bust him on it, but I'm just like he's more at it than I am. So I love what you said, and most successful people have a morning routine. What is your morning routine?
Well, I just changed it starting today. But I get up every morning and I go to the gym. That's the first thing I do every day. And the gym for me is like worship hour.
Yeah.
I am either listening to a sermon, worship music, or a podcast. That is like my time. I don't go and socialize. My husband's a lot. He knows everybody at the gym. We go together, and
Right.
he's like, so and so. I'm like, no, I don't know them. I don't have to talk to anybody. I have my headphones on. I'm like down. But there's something for me very, very powerful and very. I hate to use the word spiritual, but it's a spiritual event for me.
Mhm.
Going to the gym and moving my body physically and pouring into my spirit words from either the Bible or learning from other people.
Mhm.
It has shifted me, and I always want like there's got to be science behind it, because moving your body physically, moving it, whether you're running, jogging at the gym or something, and having the word of God poured into you at the same time, something changes on the cellular level in you. So for
Mhm.
those of you that are like, you go to the gym or what, try it. Put on either your favorite worship music or a sermon from a pastor, because we have access to all of them now, or a
Yeah.
podcast that is really a biblical podcast,
Yeah.
and watch what happens to you. I am telling you, one of these days, somebody's going to do a clinical study on this. I wholeheartedly believe you change on a cellular level when you do that. So
Yeah.
that is my number one thing that I do, and we do it 5 days a week, sometimes six.
I love that. I love that. I've changed my morning routine up a couple times on different things. Currently, what I'm doing is I go in now and I don't, like I said, I don't have a gym or anything in my own home, and the gyms are closed where I'm at. So
Still?
yeah, they just reclosed them.
Oh,
Um, so
I'm
I start my
hungry.
morning. I do it like a walk YouTube video thing that I do, and then I do my gratitude, and I do 5 to 10. I make sure five for sure, five to
That's
ten
awesome.
gratitudes, and then I was doing the mirror work challenge. So I've done that. So there's just a couple different things that I do, and if I, for a whole year I did I had and then I journaled. Like if I have something on my heart or my mind, I'll journal. And for a year it was the same. And I'm like, okay, God, I need to change this up. I love you and I want to spend my mornings with you, but I got to change it up or else I'm going to go crazy. So that's why I'm doing currently what I'm doing.
And do you like
So
it better?
yes, I do like it better. And like you said, it gets me more in tuned because meditation, 10 minutes of meditation in that where I'm just focusing on what he's trying to tell me, because it's it's funny. My husband walked in the bedroom on Saturday morning and he goes, "Oh, do you want some breakfast?" And I'm like, "Yes, but however, I'm busy. I was meditating. I'm like, I need 20 more minutes and then I'll come out and then I'm yours for the day. But I did my workout. Now I need to do this because if I don't do this, I'm not going to be the right person I need to be for you."
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is 100% true. And so because I find if I miss my morning routine or you know, it's my day's not the same at all.
I agree with you. I feel the same way. I really try not to make, if I don't happen to If I don't happen to get the routine in, I try not to let it ruin my day, but I get you. Like physically, my body feels different when I've been able to pump my blood in some way.
Yeah.
Today, because we just started our most recent class for the Radiant Leadership Academy. It's on Monday mornings. And so normally every Monday we do a live prayer call inside the Girl Power Alliance Facebook group, but
Mhm.
that's at 9 a.m. So I had to shift everything. And so this morning I got up and I went to a yoga class at 5:30 a.m. my time, to kind of be able to fit it all in so that I'd be there. And I will tell you, talk about meditation. I tried for so many years to quiet my mind, to meditate. I could not do it. I'm like, there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with my brain. I'm not designed for meditation. But I will tell you that yoga was the first place I ever learned to quiet my mind because it's so hard. And I know there's a lot of Christians that are like, oh, you can't do yoga. I don't know what you're doing when you go to yoga, but I meet Jesus at the mat every time.
Yeah.
And it's so hard. And you're focused on breathing and moving in a certain sequence. And I
Yeah.
realized one time I was like, oh, my mind is silent. And once I had awareness of the fact that my mind was silent, it was like this open pathway for me to really, really receive what the Lord was saying to me. So I literally love doing that. It's a great, that is meditation for me.
Yes. And I totally agree with you. Like a lot of people, like I said, I've had a lot of people like, well, yoga's the devil. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not, like you said, I'm not sure what you're doing, but I'm just sitting there breathing. And it took me actually a good 2 to 3 months the first time I started meditating before this would shut off because
Yes.
this, okay, so I found something out within the last year, this pandemic. uh, Women, we all know that women are hot wired and we are wired in such a way that our mind continuously goes. A man has a nothing box in his brain. I'm still floored. I learned that within the last year, and I still, every time I bring it up and say it on my show, I'm still like in awe that a man has a section of his brain that he can just shut off and not even think of anything.
Isn't that amazing? John Gray
I
talks about that. I don't know if you know who John Gray is or any of his stuff, but he talks about that. And my husband and I, we talk. It's unbelievable to me. I'm like, I wish I had. Can I? I don't have one. I don't know how to get one. I can't have one. I think it's only allowed for men because I
Yeah,
can't do it. But what a blessing to be able to shut everything off and like
right.
have nothing go on. I don't know how to do that. Even
Exactly.
in my meditation time, there's never nothing because
No.
in the meditation, it's Jesus, which is
Yeah.
good. I'm happy to have Jesus, but it seems like it would be lovely to have some nothing sometimes.
There has been a couple times I've been able to just sit and just be in peace and nothing goes. It doesn't happen very often, but I have been able to do it. I'm not the master by any means. I'm just going to go back into the comments for a 1 minute here. Uh, Tim agrees this will be the number one show. So does Inger. Welcome, Emily, and welcome, Alex. Yes, gyms are still closed. Yeah, I'm still getting it in somehow. Ligia agrees. The exercise is essential. They're just saying hi to each other in the comments here. Yes, our minds are so different. Exactly. Yes, Tim, I'm sure you're one of those guys that have a nothing box.
You have it. You already have it.
You
You
already
just
have
need
it.
to open it up.
Yep. Just, just Tim's an amazing guy. He was actually my instructor for my live streaming. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah. And we're doing a man and woman of the year leukemia drive too as
Wow.
well. So more on that later.
Yeah.
See, we're not the
Yeah.
only ones, Michelle.
Yeah. See,
Absolutely.
yeah, you get it. You get it.
But Alex, you have a nothing box. So use it.
Yeah. You at least, you may not be accessing it, but you have it. We just don't even have it.
This woman is going to save my life. There you go, Dr. Laura. Just meditate it out. And okay, so you have a big event coming up too soon, don't you?
We do in April. In April, April 7th through the 9th in Dallas, Texas. It is a conference and expo for Christian women in business. And for basically for my whole adult career, I've gone to a lot of events. You probably have too, Dorothy. Like you, I've just
Yeah.
gone to a lot of events over the years. I've gone to events through my church and like, women of faith events, type events. I've gone to a lot of business events. And, for me, they're both always leaving me wanting something. The church events, while they're great, as an ambitious woman, I've always kind of felt like I didn't really fit in with that crowd because it's such a big part of who I am, building business and, working to create wealth and stuff. It's how God made me. And then the same when I go to, a really great business event, like it's missing the thing. Like my faith is my biggest strategy piece. It's the biggest part of who I am in business. And so I've always looked for these. And something's always lacking. Even some that say that they are both, they're kind of not really both.
Mhm.
And so God gave me this vision to do this event, actually a really long time ago, but it was never the timing was never right. And is the timing right now with all this COVID stuff? Apparently, because we're doing it. But when the Lord was downloading this event to me for now, he told me, he said, this event is going to activate something in the kingdom and it's going to activate something in every woman that attends. And so I said, okay, we're just going to call it Activate then. So we're going to have amazing main stage speakers to really share their story. And then we have breakouts where the trainers are going to give women tangible tools. And we have a whole lot of other things. A gala where we're going to celebrate women, raise money, give money away. We've got some incredible entertainment and really celebrating women. And I'm just really excited. I'm really excited about it. So we can cap out at 1,500 women. It's in Dallas, Texas in April. The weather is stunning. It's in the middle of the United States. I figure that's kind of an easy, like wherever you're at, it's easy to get to.
Right.
And if we if we sell it out, if we go to capacity, which I believe we will, then we'll have the whole hotel. Like it'll be all us.
Wow.
So 2.5 days of we're gonna have a worship concert. Like it's just a packed time of
Right.
really filling your cup. If you are a Christian woman in business, you will be filling your cup of faith and you'll be filling your cup of ambition and business and all of that with a whole bunch of other women that are doing the same thing, really, really on a mission. So
Wow.
it's going to be fun.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I'll have to see see if I could cross the border.
I know. I mean, my gosh, I could sneak you in.
I managed to escape December 10th, 9th with my husband to go to Chicago. We were there for like 3 days and we come home and then the world ended again.
Well, at least you got out for a minute.
Uh, yeah, it was a hot minute. I got to go see some amazing friends that I had met on social media. Just, we become friends.
How cool is
Actually,
that?
right. And actually, those women that I went to go see actually led me to Kimberly, whom I haven't been able to see in person, but we have a mastermind group. I call it the mastermind group, Saturday mornings. So we meet Saturday mornings, and so I met two out of the 7 other ladies. So the world's got to open up again so I can go see the rest of them.
Come on, open it up.
Open it up. Well, now though, everywhere I'm turning lately, everybody's been affected. So, including my own family. So,
Yeah.
I gotta, I gotta be careful here. Yes, yoga means union. I love that, Dr. Laura, and she agrees that it's not religious. That's where she says talk about yoking the mind and body. There we go. And Tim is thanking us for being part of the leukemia um, event, which we'll be sharing more of once I can really spread the word, because technically it's not official. We can't officially open till sometime in end of June, but
Oh
you'll
gosh.
hear more about that as the time goes by. Why is it so scary when the silence isn't quiet?
Silence is actually really loud. Let's be honest.
It is. because that's when you think of all the things that you think you screwed up on. Speaking from my experience, anyways, but I've learned to give myself the grace and say, okay, that was just something that was a stepping stone to where I'm going to.
Well, that's right. And the only if the voice that you're hearing is speaking negative, then that is not the voice you should be listening to.
Yep,
That is not the voice of
exactly.
God.
No, 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 no. All righty. So, um, we have the expo. Where? Okay, so first of all, we talked about your books, but where can they be found?
They're on Amazon. Both of them are on Amazon right now. Was there something else I was supposed to, you asked me that I was supposed to tell you? I don't remember. Hopefully the other two will get finished and then published in 2022. That's kind of my goal. The experience of planning for this event. That's what I was going to tell you. The
Okay.
experience of planning this event from the time that God like downloaded the idea to today, which we haven't had the event yet. And then in April, I will tell you, my fourth book is going to be called Activate Your Faith, because what I have watched God do in circumstances I mean, it's been mind blowing for me and the team that's planning this event to just watch God work, to watch God work. I'm in awe, and I'm excited about really helping. And I know there's more. That's why I'm like, I know there's more. I know once the event is done and all of the things that he will have moved and the mountains he will have moved and the doors he will have opened that we've already seen happen so far are going to be mind boggling. So that'll be the fourth book. And I just I know that people are afraid. They're afraid of the virus, they're afraid to travel, and they're afraid of all of that. And I'm not, without having making this political or anything like that. I will just say this: that the Bible tells us 365 times, "Do not fear," or some version of that. Do not fear, or some version of "Don't be afraid." And
Yeah.
I believe that's for every day of the week. And we all know that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. He wants us in a state of fear. And I just rebuke that fear. I rebuke that like division and chaos that he's trying to create between people because you agree with this and you don't agree with that, whether it's politics or the virus or whatever, right?
Yep.
Whatever's going on, that he's trying to create division. He
Yep.
wants you separated from each other, family, friends, work, whatever. And so when it comes to this event, even though we're being smart, we're not telling people to do anything crazy. I will just say this: that a spirit of fear, God, he says, I have not given you a spirit of fear, but one of power, of love, and of self-discipline. And so when it comes to the fear for all the things that we have been bombarded with over the last 2 years, that I believe it's our job as believers to rebuke that fear and to stand up and be bold in general about whatever it is that God is calling you to do. So we're moving forward with the event, believing wholeheartedly that a lot of the craziness is going to be gone. We specifically chose Texas because we knew we could have an event there, because Texas has lighter regulations than here where I'm from in California, which is like feels like they're going backwards again. I know you are doing the same thing in Canada. California feels the same. But
Yep.
I whatever it is that I feel is the enemy's agenda, I want to do the opposite.
Exactly. I love that. I absolutely love that. Yes, I don't live in fear. That doesn't mean I go out and stupidly throw house
Right.
parties. That just means that God's bigger than it's funny because in my prayer time today on my drive to work, it's like, God, you were bigger than what we're facing now.
Amen.
So, and that is funny that you use those exact words because I used them this morning.
See, that's not a coincidence. And Laura, I would be honored, Dr. Laura. You can get
Yes.
my information from
Monkey
Dorothy.
mind. Thanks,
Yeah, I
Gabe,
mean,
for showing
I
up.
just think like what is our role as believers? What is our role? How are we to demonstrate that we are anything different than anybody else, right? We
Yep.
demonstrate it by how we live our lives. We demonstrate it by the things that we don't allow fear to overtake us, that we don't allow offense to overtake us. We live in a world where everybody's offended about everything, the tiniest things. And so we
Mhm.
just rebuke a spirit of offense and we walk and we give people grace and mercy. And the whole definition of that is giving somebody something that they didn't deserve. That's what grace and mercy are. It's like you're giving somebody kindness and giving them love sometimes that maybe they didn't deserve because they didn't treat you right. And with
Right.
so much of I think everybody's family. Like, you
Yeah.
agree with this political party or this political statement, you agree with this about the virus and all these things, and people are just fighting over things
Right.
that you would have never fought about. I rebuke that, and I won't do it. It doesn't matter if I don't agree with you. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to love you. I'm going to be kind to you, and I'm refusing to allow it to divide. And I just
Right.
want to encourage you as believers to do the same thing. Don't allow it to divide. You don't have to agree with every word that comes out of everybody's mouth. You can still love them.
Exactly. Amen, sister. I love that you said that. I really do love that you said that. And right now we are getting to the part of the show where it's the fundamentals are now taking over. So I'm going to bring in our amazing friends, Kimberly and Michelle. Let me do it like a different way so I can have it. Oh, there we go. Oops, no, that's not what I wanted. Not at all. That's what I wanted. So, welcome to the show, the other Michelle and Kimberly. And so I'm gonna step back a little bit and have Kimberly do the fundamental part.
Hi, everybody, and I'm just so excited. We are on location with the All Family Healthcare Company in Chicago, Illinois. So, hey, all you Chicagoans. And we have Michelle Mendoza representing the All Family Healthcare. Michelle, would you like to share a little bit about All Family before we get started?
First of all, I want to say good evening to everyone, and thank you so much for having me. I acknowledge you, powerful women, and it's such a privilege to be in your presence and the rest of, and same with the rest of the audience tonight. All family. Okay, so we do specialize in skilled nursing. We do provide a visiting doctor, a skilled nurse, LPN, RNs. We have our own in-home staff members, including physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, even home health aides. So we do cater to mostly seniors that are homebound. Some of them even drive, but it is limited even with their activities and everything. And that's when we provide care inside the home, even for wound care, uh, to check on their blood pressure, to check on their well-being. It could happen in between doctor's visits or, just when needed. So we're here to provide that service. We cater in the Cook, DuPage, Will, Kane, McHenry, and Lake counties. And also, we could go as far as taking care of DME supplies too. We back them up. We back up, doctors' offices and facilities as well. We help with the follow-ups for DMEs. And there were also times when the patients were stuck without medication, stuck without food, were stuck without a caregiver. What's special about our company is that each and every staff member goes above and beyond their job description. We're here to help and be of full service to everyone. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you're so welcome. And it's our honor and privilege to give you space on this show, The Unstoppable Overcomers, right? And Michelle is a personal, dear person to me because if you guys didn't catch it at all, she's so passionate, so passionate, and so in love with people, especially people that they don't have that team to support them, and they don't have access to living their best lives in any situation, especially if it's situations, right, that most everybody else runs away from. She just continues to commit herself and attach herself to projects and passions that close those gaps and create bridges for people to have everything they've ever wanted. So she's just one of the most amazing human beings on the planet, and I adore her. So Michelle, thank you for sharing. We'll be sure to get information out to the community about All Family Healthcare. And with that, super excited to jump into the fundamentals of the show. right? And this is all about for both. And I just love that we have two Michelles tonight. Isn't it great?
Her too. Thank you.
But I mean, like we planned that. No, that's all Holy Spirit. And it's so lovely to watch, just two amazing Michelles of God, no less, right? So it's hot. It's hot. So I don't care which Michelle goes first, whoever wants to jump in and share with the community, what are your three core fundamentals? So we here at Unstoppable Overcomers, the we spell fundamentals. I don't know, Dorothy, if you want to put it out there or not, but it's fun, capital Fun, DUH, capital M, mentals, right? So it's fun and easy, right? So if you could give those three gifts to people, what are your three fundamentals? Either Michelle, whoever talks first gets to go first.
We're both trying to let the other one go first.
This is fun. Michelle, I could go.
Okay, I'll go. So you want to know my fun things? Is that what you're asking?
Well, it's what are you, if you could only give three things away that are simple, fun, the cores, the basics of life and living the life fully, what would those be for you that, if you were going to give those away tonight as a gift, what would they be?
Okay. Well, I think first and foremost, it's that love is transformational. Like love is the most important thing. It's love above everything else. And kind of in a subheading for that, it would be grace, to other people. Because what I know about most people is most people are good. And they're not trying to harm you. Yes, there are those people out there, but most people are good. And they are fighting their own battles. And I think, so was that one or two? So one, so
you got two. You got two.
Love and grace.
Okay. So the third one would be to really, really be in the moment, because time is the only thing we can't get back. And so, we're so busy and we we glorify busy. But I will tell you that every day goes by, sadly, we've lost a lot of people in the last couple of years to a lot of things, COVID being one of them, drug addictions, accidents, so many things. And so don't take for granted each moment that you have with people. That's a really, really important thing for me, is to take advantage of the time that I have with people, to make the most of it. Cause we're not promised another day. And so those are probably the three most important things to me.
Love it. Love it. Fundamentally, they're fantastic. And it's really fun because I got to work with Michelle, our other Michelle, our Chicago Michelle, earlier today. So it's super fun to hear how close your three fundamentals are. It's like we're talking to the same person. So, and just know, all you out there in TV land know that Michelle, our Chicago Michelle, had created her fundamentals before our LA Michelle shared. So go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, I didn't even know. So I wasn't prepared for that.
No, it's so Holy Spirit. It's so Holy Spirit. It's great.
This is how I give it to God, and God works it all out.
Yep. It's so beautiful. Go ahead, Michelle. Chicago Michelle.
Yes. So like what Michelle once said, one of my fundamentals is also love. Love is everywhere and in everyone and everything, and it also transcends time and space. Number two, be generosity. What you put out into the world and the universe come back to you tenfold. And the more, in my experience, the more generous I become, the easier life gets for me. That's what I've gotten out of generosity. You give more, even without expecting anything in return. You give. Everyone gets uplifted, it becomes easier. Third one would be communication. Everything and anything is possible in the world of communication. You guys.
That is awesome. I put it
Oh,
in. Oh no.
You lost California, Michelle.
Oh no. California Michelle, we can't lose you. Libby's messenger.
Well, while she's locating California Michelle, Chicago Michelle,
Oh, here she
amazing,
comes.
amazing. Yeah,
California
really great.
Michelle in the house.
So thank you for causing me, Kimberly.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, and thank you for sharing your fundamentals. Thank you for sharing your amazing company, and who you are for people in Chicago. And thank you, Dorothy, for letting us pipe in and bring the fundamentals to everyone. Back to you.
My pleasure. Greg here says, I'm loving what I'm feeling out of this group. If my organization can be of assistance, please put us to work. Well, it just so happens, Mr. Greg, you are on in 2 weeks. And we will be able to see how we can be a blessing to each other because Greg is a retired sergeant. I don't know his rank. Okay, so he's a retired combat officer. I do know that, and he will be on the show in 2 weeks. And so yeah, it's gonna be amazing. So if you ladies like, stay tuned because there is something in the works with this guy. Like, amazing. I don't see that about a lot of people that haven't been on the show already, but like it's what he's got going on, you all want to be a part of, whether you're man, woman, doesn't matter. You want to be a part of that, just like you want to be a part of Michelle, California Michelle's Girl Power Alliance and her expo, because that is coming up. And where can they find tickets to that expo, Michelle?
I was going to say, Dorothy, why don't you post the website, her website?
It's her website's on the show notes, but is it on your
Perfect.
website?
Okay.
It is on the website, or you can go to activatewomen.live.
Okay.
Activatewomen.live is the direct link to the event where the tickets and everything are. We also are having expo vendors. We still have space available if you want to come and represent your business or your product or your service, then please come and join us. You get a ticket for that and you get to be a part of all the fun. And by the way, whether you come as an attendee or you come as a vendor, it's a write-off because it's a business event. So love that.
I love that. I'm putting all this in the notes, including your fundamentals and things like that. But definitely, and the Chicago Michelle, how can people get a hold of you? Where are you at?
We are, inside Essence Med Spa and Wellness Center. It's on Kinzua Avenue in Chicago. And I could share my number, 773-656-9942. Anytime you need a friend or a helping hand, I'm here at your service.
Okay, you said that way too fast for this brain. Can you say that if you want the number out publicly? Can you say that again?
Sure. My number is 773-656-9942.
42?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. There we go. I tried to get it. Like,
Thank you, Dorothy.
there's a disconnect between the hand and the brain. So that has been awesome. So yes, and that was Michelle
Mendoza.
Are you on social media? Are you on social media at all, Michelle Mendoza?
Not enough.
No. I think you're the only one. I love it. Michelle, we need to get you on social media.
Okay.
But I love that. That's why she's just like rattling off her phone number. I love that though. I love it.
The phone.
I'm so used to using social media and yeah, that's why I'm just like, oh my gosh. So Greg wants to know if we can bring this to Florida. Yeah. I can do the show anywhere in the world because all I need is my phone and my internet. And I'm telling you, because I'm here in Canada. Kimberly is originally out of Indiana, so and we have this connection. But yes, I see the show going everywhere.
On location.
From his lips, it's done.
It's done. That's funny you said that. I'm gonna tell my husband tax write-off everywhere in the world we go. Plus, I'm sure there's a book tour coming up too. uh,
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I just really want to thank our guests for showing up tonight and being part of this amazing group. And both Michelle's, I just want to say thank you so much. You definitely brought your A games, and I just excited to see. I heard that 2022 is the year of collaboration. And yeah, God's glory bumps are saying that. And it's just like every pretty much all night long his glory bumps have been here. So from me personally anyways. And I just can't wait to see how this friendship grows and expands. And I feel like every guest that comes on my show is part of my family. So welcome to the family. And it's a wild, crazy bunch. You have no idea what you got yourself into. It's actually the first time I've said that, but that's what I feel like. I feel like everybody that's come on the show is part of the big family, and we welcome you here. And do you ladies have any last tips or anything that you want to leave our audience with? I'll say Chicago Michelle, you first, and then we'll go to California Michelle.
I'll keep on subscribing to this channel and liking them, Unstoppable Overcomers. Thank you so much for having me tonight. It's a privilege to be with you, powerful women. Keep on playing. And you're right, 2022 collaboration. That's what it's all about, teamwork. Thank you so much for having me. Looking forward to being with all of you again.
Oh, we'll have you back. I'm sure.
In Florida, right?
Yeah, we're all meeting in Florida. That's where the group session's going to be.
Awesome.
And Michelle?
California Michelle?
California Michelle, yes.
What the Lord told me specifically for 2022 was Isaiah 43, 18 and 19. He says, I am doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? I'm making a way in the wasteland and streams in the desert. And I believe wholeheartedly that this is going to be a year of new things, exciting, wonderful new things. And I believe that specifically for women, that this time is our Esther 4:14 time, that we have been positioned in all different platforms, professions, and places globally for now, for us to rise up, take our place in the kingdom as leaders, as kingdom shakers, and having a really, really incredible impact. I want to say to the two of you, thank you for what you're doing. It matters. Your voices matter, and you're giving voices to other people. It's having an impact. Keep going. Keep going like with all of your heart. And thank you so much for having me on your show.
Absolutely. And I know, sorry, Kimberly had to leave. Oh, she's back. Hold on. I thought you were leaving us.
No, I got the last bit of what she was saying. Thank you so much.
And did you want to add anything, Kimberly, before we wrap this completely up?
No, the only thing I would put out there for everyone this week is remember, laughter is always the best medicine. Keep having fun and keep being present and grateful for every moment that you have, and only good will come to you. We love you.
Absolutely. I don't know how to top that. So be you, be in the present and have fun. That's what it's all about. Then I just absolutely love it. Don't forget, next week, another episode, Monday night, same time, same channel. Yes, if you could, we're asking one thing of you today, and that is to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Unstoppable Overcomers. It's absolutely free, and you just have to click a button. So that is our ask for this evening. If you guys could all do that, that would be amazing. And have a blessed night. See you next week.
Bye.